Hello, I'm Festu, exploring the Bible land. This is the third video about Caesarea. Caesarea is an artificial port built by Herod the Great. This city was built under the name of Caesar Augustus. In the last video, we talked about the Roman theater and Herod Agrippa first. If you haven't watched it, please watch it first. In this video, we will talk about the Promontory Palace built by Herod the Great and the governor's building. Let's get out from the Roman theater and approach to the seaside. We pass the various capitals that were uncovered during excavation, and we are passing a wall that is believed to be built in the Roman era. Then, wow! You can see the view of ancient Caesarea. It's a wonderful landscape that everyone can admire. Far away from here, you can see the Mediterranean Sea and the Crusader Watching Tower. Also, you can see the Hippodrome. On the left, the Promontory Palace of Herod the Great is made next to the romantic Mediterranean Sea. By the way, the location of this palace is a little unusual. This palace is built not on the sea coast, but inside of the sea. So it's called the Promontory Palace. First, who excavated this palace and when? The Promontory Palace has been excavated recently. In 1976, the Hebrew University did the first full-scale excavation. This excavation was led by Professor Ehud Netzer. When we talk about the archaeology of Herod the Great, we must mention Professor Ehud Netzer. I will talk about him on another time. In 1990, Professor Ehud Netzer excavated this palace again with Kathleen Gleason and Barbara Burrell from the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. In this excavation, they revealed the structure of this palace. They also revealed that this palace was reconstructed in a large scale shortly after the death of Herod the Great. Why was this palace reconstructed and for what? I will explain it in a moment. Now, the first point of this video. The Promontory Palace of Herod the Great, Professor Ehud Netzer excavated in 1976 and 1990 to 92. Second, why did Herod the Great build this palace in the promontory? In fact, this palace is very unusual. If you stay in this palace, you have to tolerate the loud sound of the waves all the time. Especially in the winter, the Mediterranean Sea turns to a dangerous and noisy sea. Therefore, this palace is not good to use as a residence palace. Furthermore, in the middle of the building, there is a large swimming pool with a length of 35 meters, 18 meters wide, and a depth of 2.4 meters. And in the west and south part of the palace, there is also a round balcony toward the sea. On the east coast, there are a restaurant and entrance. Even if this palace looks so cool, this is a little rustic compared to the other Herod's palaces. Honestly, if we built it on the inside of the coast, he could build a bigger and better palace. Professor Ehud Netzer suggested a unique interpretation about this. He found a hint in the Jewish war of Josephus. Although the area Herod was trying to build was very unfavorable, he overcome all these difficulties and completed a building that could withstanding the mighty waves. Herod the Great tended to show his fortitude and ability. He would have wanted to be applauded by showing that he can build a palace in this promontory. In fact, Herod the Great built a lot of palaces that were more magnificent than this. This is the only building he has that overcomes the limitations of architecture and withstand the harsh winter waves of the Mediterranean Sea. Here's the second point of this video. Herod the Great built a palace on the promontory to show his architectural skills. Third, this palace was used as the governor's building after the death of Herod the Great. An important excavation has emerged to understand what this building was used for after Herod the Great. In 1990, marble pillars used in a small Roman bath were uncovered. These pillars had inscriptions in Latin and Greek. The contents of these texts are important evidence. These inscriptions were written in the Roman and Byzantine period. It's an important key to understand what this palace was used for. Let me introduce one of the inscriptions. It is a Greek palace believed to have been engraved in 71 Common Era. Titus Flavius Maximus, and philosopher and patron Seleucus, and curator of ships, Caesarea Colonies, to Anna. Through this inscription, we could know that this building was used as a governor building. Here's the third point of this video. A Greek inscription which has evidence this building was used as the Roman governor's building has been excavated. Fourth, the Governor Pilate was in this building. In fact, this restored palace that we can see now was not built by Herod the Great. It was built after the death of Herod the Great. So we have a question. Why was this building built so large? Professor Eunetzel assumed that it was probably made so large to be used as the Roman governor's building. After the death of Herod the Great, the Tetrarchs divided the land of Judea and reigned. Caesarea was far from the territories of these Tetrarchs, so there was no need for such a large-scale construction. When the governor came from Rome, he needed a large building for the governor. That is why, at that time, they needed a major expansion from the Promontory Palace to the large buildings. For this reason, the Pilate inscription, which was discovered during the excavation of the Roman theater, was moved to the Roman governor's building. Let's introduce the contents of this inscription. What is written like V should be read U in English alphabet. Tiberium Pontius Pilatus Praefectus Judeae. If you want to mention the history of Christianity and the historical Jesus, you have to mention this Pilate inscription. This is one of the most important archaeological evidence for Christianity. The Roman governor Pilate, Felix, and Festus in the Bible would have been in this governor's building. Here the first point of this video. The Pilate inscription was moved to the Roman governor's building. Fifth, the Apostle Paul was house arrested in this governor's building. Today's last story. If this building was the governor's building, the Apostle Paul must have been here. He was arrested in Jerusalem and was house arrested in Caesarea for 2 years. Because he is a Roman citizen, it would have been a house arrest, not a prison. If so, it is very likely that the Apostle Paul stayed in this governor's building. Let's read the Bible. Acts chapter 23, verse 23 to 35. Then he called 2 of his centurions and ordered them, get ready a detachment of 200 soldiers, 70 horsemen, and 200 spearmen to go to Caesarea at 9 tonight. When the cavalry arrived in Caesarea, they delivered the letter to the governor and handed Paul over to him. The governor read the letter and asked what province he was from. Learning that he was from Cilicia, he said, "I will hear your case when your accusers get here." Then he ordered that Paul be kept under guard in Herod's palace. It is so clearly mentioned in this verse. The Roman governor Felix kept the Apostle Paul under guard in Herod's palace. Where is this? That's right. This is the Promontory Palace of Herod the Great, which we are talking about in this video. In Felix's days, the building may not be as it was originally built by Herod, but the part of Palace of Herod the Great was still maintained in the governor's building. That is why the governor Felix called it Herod's Palace in the Bible. Herod, in the last video, was eaten by worms and died. He was Herod Agrippa first. It was 44 years in Common Era. The Apostle Paul was detained in Caesarea. It was about 2 years from 57 to 59 in Common Era. The last point of today. The Apostle Paul was detained in this governor's building on 57 to 59 Common Era. Until now, I explained that the Promontory Palace in Caesarea has been used as a Roman governor's building. It's really related to the book of Acts. It's also an important place in Christian history. In that sense, the Pilate inscription is displayed in the most appropriate place. And remember, the original Pilate inscription is in Israel Museum. In next video, I will explain the port of Caesarea and the Apostle Paul. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.